Hornady Handgun Hunter in 357 Magnum and 9mm. I'm going to test these. Now, it's an interesting concept. They're lead-free bullets. They're certified safe in California and stuff like that. But anytime I've ever tested these before, they've never really ran like a hunting round. They've kind of performed more like a defensive round. So that's kind of how I'm going to test them in my ballistic test. So a 357 Magnum is a 130 grain monoflex. It's rated at 1250 feet per second from an 8-inch barrel, which is an interesting barrel length to get that rating from. And our 9mm 115 grain rated at 1100 feet per second from a 4-inch barrel. Again, interesting barrel length to use if it's a hunting cartridge. And it's full with some of this, like soft polymer type material. I'm not sure what it is. Different bullet design between the two of these, so very interesting there. So I'm going to go through the chronograph, see what kind of velocity and accuracy I get at the same time, and then I'm going to do my 10% clear ballistic test. I'm going to run it like standard defensive ammo. So we have 4 layers of denim, followed by 3 inches of clear ballistics to represent hitting a pectoral muscle. By the way, clear ballistics is half as dense as tissue, so that's really like an 1.5 inches of muscle tissue, followed by a 1/4 inch MDF to represent hitting ribs or sternum, and to more clear ballistics. We'll do a shot with the MDF to represent hitting like ribs or sternum. We'll pull it out. We'll do a shot without it to represent like a gut shot. And then I'm going to shoot from, well, I am going to do 75 yards on my steel, but before that I have some expired peaches and applesauce there. I'm going to shoot from 25 yards because I figure, you know what, that's kind of like a small game hunt, and maybe if I'm shooting something bigger at longer range like that steel, that's a large game hunt. So let's get started with this test. By the way, the guns used are my Smith & Wesson 686 with a 4-inch barrel and my Smith & Wesson M&P 9 with the 5-inch barrel. These are 2 of my best shooting handguns, so I always like to come out with these. So 5 yards from the target, 4 yards from the chronograph. 9mm, let's see how close we get to that 1100 feet per second rate of velocity. 1148, 1115, 1118, 1135, 1105. So we got our rated velocity at least. 357 Magnum, now 1250 through an 8-inch barrel. We should see a significant drop in velocity with our 4-inch barrel, but let's see what we get. No read, I pulled that one a little bit. 1317, 1308, 1315, no read, 1311. And that's interesting because they're shooting a little bit low and a little bit to the left for me, and this gun's pretty much usually spot on. Another interesting thing, we're above rated velocity through a 4-inch barrel versus an 8-inch barrel rating. So what we actually got is pretty decent velocity, but let's hit our ballistics shell block with these and see what we get. All right, first up we have our 9mm through our 1/4 inch medium density fiberboard. Let's see what we got. All right, let's try our gut shot now. All right, no MDF, just our gut shot. Let's see how our 9mm does. Let's go take a look. All right, so that's very interesting. Through our MDF, no expansion in that first 3 inches, clearly. But I think that caused enough tumbling that it tumbled about right here, did some good damage, stopped at about 17 3/4 inches, and our 9mm passed completely through about 34-35 inches of ballistics shell. So I don't know what to think about that. Let's try our 357 now. All right, 357 Magnum, 1/4 inch MDF. See what we get. Definitely moved that thing a lot more. Let's try our gut shot now. All right, no MDF, just our gut shot. See how it does. All right, let's go take a look. All right, so through our MDF, we definitely see we have some expansions. Kind of weird here, but in the first 3 inches, it went kind of a oblong hole through there. And through our MDF, we got a penetration of about 13.5 inches with our quote-unquote gut shot about 16 inches. So that's performing like really good defensive ammo. Everything about that 357 Magnum isn't really suggesting a good hunting load. It's suggesting a good self-defense load. But with our 9mm, that's not really suggesting a good self-defense load. I'm not really sure that's suggesting a very good hunting load either. I mean, we had good penetration, but I don't know what the point of that hollow point is if it can't expand from a 5-inch barrel. So let me do my small game hunt now and just see what I can get with these. All right, at this point I am 25 yards from the target. That is pretty far for little cans, 12, 14 ounce cans. So I guess I'm gonna go left to right, start with our 9mm, see if I can make it hit. I'll have to really focus in on this. That's pretty far for something so small. It worked. Right over the top of that next one. All right, so I had beginner's luck. All right, time to set back up and try some 357 Magnum. I made a hole through one of them, but one of them exploded this out. That's pretty impressive, but I don't know what the standard is for applesauce cans versus hunting rounds, so that could mean anything. All right, same thing with the 357, left to right. These did seem like they're impacting a little bit low left, but maybe not at that distance, so see what I can do. One more double action. Alright, so let me go single action, aim right on it and see if I have to make any adjustments. Yeah, probably. Alright, let me just aim more centered. Yeah, it's hitting low for sure. So we're seeing that a little bit off sights from my sights is causing me some issue with something that small. So let me back it up to 75 yards at my full-size steel silhouette, see what I get. All right, 75 yards from the target, 9mm. That's almost twice the distance of that 40-yard drill. But this shot really good. It felt like a 22. So let me see if I can make any hits. So kind of saw it impacting a little bit to the right, so I kind of made some adjustments for that. So I don't know about this, if it's going to continue to really shoot to the right for me or not. So let's see what I can do. It's aim center mass. All right, so each time I aimed a little bit to the left, it seemed like I wasn't hitting. So center mass again, I guess. I think it may be hitting a little bit high for me because when I was getting more hits, I was aiming kind of at the lower half of that target. So what I'm seeing with this, I mean, I have kind of mixed opinions about this because I don't think my sights are off on my particular gun. They seem to shoot well for everything else I shoot through it, but it just wasn't hitting point of aim and impact. That's not really a good way to judge the ammo, but what I saw in the ballistic performance was incredible. It was really, really good for a self-defense load. And you know, this is kind of far away, so at any practical distance of less than 10 yards, it's going to do really, really well. Now the 9mm, interesting because it was so low powered, barely above 300 foot-pounds of energy, but the accuracy was really good, even though our ballistic performance was pretty bad. So honestly, if I had to hunt something with this, or even if I had to take a long shot for any other reason, I would definitely use the 9mm versus the 357 Magnum. It just shot really, really well. It felt like shooting a 22, and hitting targets was not hard at all with this particular load. So it's a pretty good round in that respect. But yeah, if you had to shoot a threat at you coming at you at a very close distance, I would much rather have that 357 mag. So I guess you can draw your own conclusions from that. So that's what you get today. So as always, comment, share, and like, and thanks for watching.